So this is a donor laptop from 2012 that was, at the time, a desktop replacement. But now look at it. This has been running for quite a long time now, and I don't think it's going to stop. It's now having such a tough time doing pretty much anything with 11 years of service under its belt. Now this is that same PC without any hardware changes, playing games. This is all due to Atlas OS and what it can do with your current Windows. So what is Atlas OS? Well, it's a version of Windows that strips down all of the unwanted bloat from the actual Windows. So it's going to go through and remove a bunch of different processes that aren't actually maybe being utilized at all times. So security features that might not be completely relevant to your chipset are then removed. So your computer's not there running it when it doesn't need to be. And this is mainly to improve gaming performance from Atlas. I also think there's a fantastic other reason to be running this version of Windows, which is bringing those old laptops back from the dead to possibly not do what a normal computer from 2023 would do, but give it some extra shelf life. Now, 11 years is a long time, and a quad core nowadays with 16 gigs of RAM is around what phones and tablets are using. So let's see what we can do with this device and how much performance we can gain back with Atlas OS. So after we've gotten all of the software installed on the computer and everything else removed, we are left with a very stark Windows. But it is still Windows. It still runs exactly how you'd think it would, and you can install software and games and pretty much do whatever you want to slow it back down again. And their real goal here with Atlas is to reduce latency of input, network, and visual latency so that your computer is running as fast as it can be while also keeping it private. Now we're doing that with this very old laptop, so let's see what games we can actually get done on here. Even with this old machine, we are still able to get RetroArch to run, which means we have a bunch of different cores we can utilize to play anything from old Game Boy games to the GameCube, and I feel like this could do a little bit more, but I feel like the GameCube era is where this would play very well. We've also used the Xbox Game Pass, which means we could play some lower-end titles and also some titles that came out at the time that still are available for PC, in addition to game streaming, where I think this is where this little machine shines, because it has a fast enough Ethernet and Wi-Fi card to stream some simple games while not going too overboard with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and the game streaming. I think this is just fine for how old this device is. So, as you can see in our demo, we actually got a few different games to play, and they actually ran surprisingly well for how old this machine is. So, old emulation works pretty well, new game streaming works okay, and some of the games that were released around the time that this computer came out, around 2012 and below, will still run pretty well. So this begs the question, what can you do with this OS now that you have a stripped down version of Windows that's relatively easy to install? What can you do with an old device that, well, other than that would be sitting collecting dust? Well, this was bound for the donor bin, and I'm going to use it as my Spotify and YouTube player for my office, or the Raspberry Pi replacement. I'm going to be using this to read my scripts off of and just some basic web page productivity. So not a whole lot. I'm not going to be making this my main gaming machine. Now, Atlas OS does promote that's what this is for, and I think that's a cool idea of kind of stripping everything out other than exactly what you want the machine to do. I think that's very interesting, and it's cool that someone's doing it. But I think for me personally, and possibly the DIY community of electronics and stuff like that, might get a lot more use out of this for older Windows-based platforms. Because you already have a key of Windows, why not strip it down and make it useful for something else? This could easily be a movie server or something easy. But after going through all the documentation and seeing how well Atlas performed just on the same hardware, I'm gonna do another build, but with fixing the overheating problems and the really old hard drives, giving them an update. If you'd like to see that, get subscribed. The other thing that I realized that Atlas OS doesn't come with is pickles. Why doesn't it come with pickles?